Okay. What is up, Dolphins fans? How you doing? Hello from my little corner of YouTube. Hello from North Pole, Alaska, and all that good stuff. Your farthest north Dolphins fan sitting here wondering what is going on with this team. Okay. Bear with me as I pull stuff up here and get ready. I gotta talk about it. I've gotta discuss kind of some of the ins and outs of that game that we just played against the Buffalo Bills. And we all know that we lost 21-31. Wasn't really the greatest outcome, but in the grand scheme of things, there are some reasons, some to be encouraged. There's also some reasons to be worried. And we're going to talk about all of that. Like I said, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. And in fact, for a brief minute there, I really thought that we were actually going to win that game. Just it didn't end up working out. And there's a few reasons for that as well. I just want to start off right off the bat. What in the world is going on with Willie Gay? Why are we not playing him? If Willie Gay was in that game more than 6 plays or whatever it was, 6 or 7 plays, I feel like the outcome there could have been different too. The intensity that Willie Gay brings to the game would have been a game changer for our defense. And I know that there was other things going on, but Dotson had a bad game. And I'm not blaming anything on Terrell Dobson, but he had a rough game. And when you have a linebacker having a rough game and you have somebody who can come in off the bench like Willie Gay, you need to not hesitate to throw him in the game. And they didn't do it, and they should have. What's up? How you doing, brother? I don't think the coach is going to get fired. If anything, not for the next couple weeks. Now, if we lose the next couple games, I mean, that situation could change. But I guess I'll talk about that briefly. A couple things I noticed, Aaron, was number one, McDaniel has not lost the locker room. We saw that in that game. They were playing hard for him. And Mike McDaniel also coached a pretty good game all around. It's hard to talk about it because I personally think that the Dolphins should probably move on from Mike McDaniel. Now, does that mean that I think that they should move on from him in the middle of the season? I don't know, especially after this last game where we saw him coach a good game. He did. There was a couple plays that I wish he wouldn't have called the way he did, but for the most part, he did a pretty good job managing the football game. And then when you see him do that, you can be encouraged by that and think, well, maybe he'll be okay. But you need to see it more than 1 week. And so as we're moving into the next few weeks of games for the Miami Dolphins, you gotta hope that he can continue doing what he did in this game, because there was definite. It was definitely better as from a head coaching position. Seeing his performance in this game, he did a good job all around. So, and that's including the couple things that he did that I felt were a little off, But when you have an entire game of decisions to make, and there's a couple decisions that you don't think were right, you got to kind of mark that as a win, at least as far as the head coaching goes. So that's kind of where I stand with Mike McDaniel. I feel like the way he coached and the fact that we could see that the players hadn't given up on him in that game, knowing those two things, at worst, he bought himself a couple, maybe 2 or 3 more weeks. Now, if the wheels fall off from here on out, continue to fall off, if the wheels continue to fall off, then you could be looking at a little bit of a regime change. And I guarantee you this, Mike McDaniel's not going to be the first one to lose his job. I really, truly, and honestly feel that if we see Mike McDaniel fired, it's going to be shortly after we see Chris Grier fired or removed from his general manager position. But we'll see, what that ends up turning into as we continue on getting ready for New York Jets here in 9 days, 8 days, whatever, 9 days. We have this long break. It's kind of almost like a bye week for the Dolphins, playing on a Thursday night and then waiting till next Monday to play. So the Dolphins have some time to work some things out. Ideally, what I would hope is that they go out and look into free agency for a couple players, mainly offensive linemen and cornerback positions, with the injuries that we have and those types of situations. I feel like it wouldn't hurt to look in those two directions in free agency and the waiver wire. Let's just pull it up and go through it. I've already watched this game 4 times, and I'm kind of spent on it. How are you guys feeling? How do you guys feel? Knowing, we lost that game. Where are you guys' heads at as fans? I'm telling you where my head's at, and obviously you can tell by my facial expression and stuff. I'm a little off because of it. Blake, what's up, brother? How you doing? Good to see you in here, brother. Thanks. So yeah, that's where I'm at with McDaniel. Obviously, I think Grier should have lost his job 2.5, 3 years ago. So if you see Chris Grier lose his job, we very well could see Mike McDaniel lose his as well very shortly after that. Time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah, you're right. Blake, we'll get there. I'm definitely going to be addressing Tua here too. Going to start, yes. Cliff, absolutely. New ownership is something that definitely I think would help this team. Ownership, the owner, general manager, and possibly head coach, depending on how the rest of the season goes. That's where I'm at. You can't take responsibility away from the owner here. I know that Ross has some good things that he does. Namely, he is willing to cut checks, not just as the owner, but he's willing to do what needs to be done financially to make the team work. His flaw is picking general managers and head coaches. I feel like that's where the problem comes in with Stephen Ross. So on that merit alone, I feel like I really wish that he would just kind of let the team go. Whether it be giving it to his daughter, who hopefully is more of a go-getter than he is, or at least a little more intelligent. Women are generally more intelligent than men. So it would be a big, I think it would end up being a positive thing for this team if we moved on, or if Stephen Ross, correction, if Stephen Ross moved on from the Miami Dolphins. Doesn't ever want to fire anybody. Gives them way too much time before he does. Yeah, I agree. It's personnel selection that Stephen Ross is failed at. It's not being the owner of a team. It's the personnel part. As far as cutting the checks and doing what needs to be done financially, he is a cut above the rest. So it sucks because he does. People who say Stephen Ross doesn't care, I feel like must have got a hold of some really good peyote, because Stephen Ross does care. He's just not. He's not the football mind that he probably needs to be to make the decisions that he's making. So that's kind of where I stand with Stephen Ross. I feel like switching out Stephen Ross and effectively getting rid of Chris Grier, I think that would be a huge step towards turning this whole situation with Miami around. Those two people, Chris Grier and Stephen Ross, if they were no longer associated with the Miami Dolphins, I think the Dolphins would benefit greatly from that. And this is coming from a cool head. I'm coming at you guys calm, collected. I'm not screaming into the mic and full of piss and vinegar. I'm being calm about this and objective. So that's the first thing that I feel like needs to change. And it's an important thing. It's not something small. You're talking about a foundational shift for the Miami Dolphins, and I feel like that's almost what's needed. So, well, it is what's needed, not just almost what's needed. You guys that are in here, don't forget, look at the little banner at the bottom. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, please. It helps. Trying to get these numbers up. I wanna get to 500 before the end of the season. That's my goal. I think I'm at like 330 something. I don't even know. Somewhere in there. 330, 340, somewhere in there. So I want to get that to about 500 before the season ends. Obviously, that's going to be related to success for the Miami Dolphins as we go through this, because that's it seems like it is. It's not just that it seems like the more success the team has, the more views you're going to get when you're covering a team. I mean, this is a niche environment where you're covering one football team, so it's not like these YouTube channels that put funny cat videos out. It's different covering a sports team. So 31-21. We talked about the coaching. I didn't talk about the defensive coaching. I feel like the defensive coaching was very vanilla. It was not what it needed to be. The things that needed to happen to adjust on defense, adjustments weren't made. Now I'm not losing sight of the fact that we were playing the Buffalo Bills, and that is a very difficult offense to stop. And I'm also not forgetting the fact that we had them stopped 3 times in a row, dead to rights, near the end of that game. So the defense did put it together and did start doing a little better. But the things that I'm noticing on defense are a little different than it's just as simple as getting stops. There's no turnovers, and sacks are very low. Now, once again, the Colts have probably the top 2 or 3 offensive line in the NFL. The Patriots offensive line is much improved, not as good, but definitely much improved over the last few years. And the Buffalo Bills have a fantastic offensive line as well. I would say top 7 in the NFL. So we're looking at those types of offensive lines that our defensive line has gone up against it thus far. So I'm not losing sight of that. But one of our best pass rushers, yes, he's been hurt a lot, but Jalen Phillips is largely being thrown into coverage on nearly every play. When he's in there, they're throwing him into coverage. And I guys, we cannot keep doing that. Anthony Weaver has got to recognize that by now. If we come out against the Jets and we see Jalen Phillips being thrown into coverage, it's not going to work. It's not working. We got to get off the coverage with our edge rushers. We cannot do that unless it's absolutely necessary. We can't do it. Raf, no, we did not, Rafa. We did not trade Tua yet. I'm going to get to Tua, I promise. That's the second question so far about Tua. I'm going to get to him, I promise. Talking about defense first, and then we'll move into the offense. Man. So the couple things that I noticed operationally for Miami that on defense that just bugged the crap out of me is the Jalen Phillips in coverage thing that happened again a lot against the Bills, and it frustrates me to no end. The other thing is the fact that we are not maximizing potential with Willie Gay. Dotson had a rough game. Willie Gay should have been there. They should have put him in for more than 6 plays. I don't know what they're doing by keeping Willie Gay on the bench. I feel like they need to start him at this point for a game or so and see what happens. Look for the response from Dotson. Start Willie Gay. See what happens. See how Willie Gay plays. Let me get to the box score here. Look at some stats. And the defense is not getting turnovers, and that's huge for us. That's huge. We need turnovers. If there's let's put it this way, there is no stat in the NFL that is as important as turnover differential. None. That's it. That is the most important stat. Your game could go absolutely bat poop crazy. Everything could be upside down, topsy-turvy, crazy, nuts, not making any sense. And you could be winning the turnover battle, and you're likely going to win that game. There's got to be something that we can do to get our hands on the football on defense. Got to find a way. Sealer in coverage. I mean, at this point, goodness, the last time we started 0-3 was 2019. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Willie Gay makes plays every time he's on the field. He's amazing. I want him on the field. I want to hear him screaming at the top of his lungs coming onto the field like he always does. I want that. We need him in the game. And Anthony Weaver has got to recognize that. After seeing what he does when he's on the field, with the little amount of snaps that he gets, put him in there more. He's earned it. It'll help too. All right. So, Terrell Dodson did lead the team against the Buffalo Bills with 11 tackles. Rasul Douglas had 7. Dodson also did have that sack, but that sack would have gone to anybody who was playing. What? How are you banned from going live? I don't understand, Abel. How is that even possible? What'd you do? Who'd you hurt? It was good to see. Ashton Davis in the game and making a difference. He did have 4 tackles. 3 of them were solo, and he had a pass defended. I was glad to see him. Right now, well, the only 2 sacks was Bradley Chubb and Tyrell Dodson. It's not enough, but it was, like I said, against Josh Allen and one of the best offensive lines in the game. I'm not too worried about what's happening there. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, by the way, Abel, thanks for the donation, dude. Appreciate that. That was kind of you. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. This defense, you look at the players that are starting, and this defense hasn't had a lot of time to play together. So a lot of these guys that were hurt all preseason or most of preseason, they haven't had a lot of time to play together. So there is going to be a certain amount of time where they're going to have the gel, right? They're going to have to get it together. What I'm hoping is that we see improvement. I hope that we don't see regression any farther on the defense. If we see an improvement going week to week from here on out, I think the defense will be okay. I do feel like Anthony Weaver needs to step up his play calling a little bit. It's been a little vanilla. He needs to get back to, well, maybe vanilla is the wrong word. It's been a little too predictable. And I think that if he can mix things up a little bit and get kind of more into the basics of the situation, I think we'll benefit from that. Yeah. Interesting, huh? He's going to play. I wonder what's going to happen there. Maybe he'll come out and just absolutely decimate all. We'll see. The Jets are a lacking team. They haven't played yet this week. Obviously, we'll see what their record is after tomorrow. But we very well likely could have an 0-3 bowl on Monday Night Football next Monday. Jets versus Dolphins. Probably get hurt after getting hit one time. Not much confidence in Darren Waller. But I would love to see him have success. But we'll see. I'll be hoping for success, but I'm not going to expect much for his first game back in over a year, So that's where the defense is at. They just need to keep working, and they need to stick together. I think that they're going to be okay. Obviously, there are concerns there. Mainly right now, I feel like our cornerbacks and our safeties didn't have the best game last week. I know a lot of people are worried about our front seven. I'm personally not. We've got a lot of new faces and young rookies on that team, on this team, especially on our front seven. We've got to give them a little bit of time. They have to. This is the downside of playing a bunch of rookies. When you play your rookies, you're going to have growing pains. It's going to happen. So, and this is, once again, this is from a level mind right now. I'm not reaching way up here or way down here to get these takes. I'm taking it with everything with a grain of salt, and I'm not being overly optimistic or overly negative. I'm just giving you to you as I kind of see it, based on these stats and what we saw in the games. We're almost to that point where I can give an evaluation. After that Monday Night Football game against the Jets, I'll have my ability to give. I'll be comfortable in giving my evaluation on this team, and position-wise and player-wise. I've got, where is it? This little book. This little book is full. It's a calendar, but it's just blank pages. It is full of notes on every position, every player, every coach. And I'm going to be dumping all that information. It'll be Tuesday, the Tuesday after that Monday Night Football game. And I just need a little bit of time to watch that Jets game a couple times and add a few notes, and I'll dump that whole thing on all of you. It's coming. We're almost at evaluation time. Week 4, end of week 4. I'm not going to say the word, but I understand. So we had the defense did start working things out a little bit there. They were getting just gashed by the run game in the beginning of that game. Part of that was players were letting themselves get taken out of their lanes. There is a lane responsibility on defense. Those of you that have never played football, that's kind of how it works. It's not just the ball gets snapped and all the players on the defensive line go towards the quarterback. It's not that simple. There's responsibilities, right? That's some people on a defensive line will blitz one play and they'll be told to stay home another play. When you're told to stay home, you're responsible for gaps. You have to kind of keep yourself in an area on the field in case the ball is run towards you or in your area. You're responsible for making that tackle and plugging that hole. So, no, yeah, Raf, the Dolphins did not give up a sack against the Bills. Tua was not sacked. And that we'll get to the offensive line too. I got some things that a lot of people probably aren't going to like when I start talking about that. So we'll see. But yes, there's responsibilities on defensive line, and I feel like our rookies are struggling with that a little bit. They're getting pushed off, they're getting pulled off, they're getting suckered into taking a path of least resistance. And it's kind of the Josh Allen effect. And our team kind of got bit by it a little bit here and there in that game. So, like I said, these things, they should improve as we move on into the season. So we'll see if it actually does. Special teams was fantastic. Special teams was great. I liked our special teams presentation. I liked what they did on the field. I was happy. There was a play on offense and there was a play on defense that I feel like greatly affected the game. And the one play on defense that I felt like that really affected the game was that the punt block. That was the one that I just, right here. Yeah. Yep. That was it. It was the punt block, and it was Zach Sealer. With the interview from Mike McDaniel and from what Zach Sealer said, I understand the logic. It's weird logic, but I understand the logic behind wanting to hurry the punter a little bit. But at the same time, you cannot do that there. That can't happen. That was a mistake. That was a bad decision by Zach Sealer, and that was a weird excuse offered up by Mike McDaniel on that. You can't do that there. you need to let them punt the ball. You cannot take that risk of going for a block and touching the kicker, and that's exactly what happened. And you touched his plant leg, and that's a personal foul. It would have been 4th and 2 and a re-kick if it was an incidental contact. But it wasn't. It was a personal foul variety. And some people are saying, oh, it wasn't a penalty. Yes, it absolutely was. It was a penalty. The flag should have been thrown. It was thrown. We got burned. Yes, Zach Sealer didn't try to tackle the punter. He didn't try to fall on him. He was trying to avoid him. And there are some notes from people saying that there was a Bills player on the ground that kind of lifted his leg up and essentially pushed Zach Sealer into the kicker. After watching that play, it did happen. It did. There was a little bit of push. It didn't look like the player on the ground did it on purpose, but it was incidental and it did happen. Ultimately, though, the responsibility falls on the defensive player. And if the defensive player, Zach Sealer, wasn't in the position to try to block the punt, if he stayed back in punt coverage, which is what it was supposed to have been, should have been, then there would have been no incident where that could have even happened. So, yep, exactly. I felt bad for him too. Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. And he shouldn't have been out there. I agree with that too. They should have pulled him off. There's no point in having him out there. You shouldn't be trying to block that play. So, just definitely not good. I didn't watch the game, but I saw a kneel down by Josh Allen. The rest messed up and didn't call that a fumble. That was close. I'm not gonna really decide what I thought that was. It was so close. That call could have gone either way. But as soon as the ball got tossed to the referee, and the referee hung on to it, I mean it's not going to be, nothing's going to be made of that at that point. Kind of just a weird situation. Dolphins haven't had a good QB since Dan Marino. Well, you got to define good. I would define Dan Marino as a generational / great QB, elite quarterback. Tua is definitely not elite, generational, or great. But Tua is a good quarterback. He's just not great, elite, or generational. So you really kind of got to split that up a little bit. Going from bad quarterback, which is what most of our quarterbacks have been, bad, to great. There's a lot of room in between there, right? But yeah, it's hard, and finding a good quarterback or a great quarterback is not something that a lot of teams have luck with. It's rare. So we're looking at that defense, and we're looking at the special teams. I talked about the defense. I talked about the special teams. The special teams was good. The special teams is the bright spot of this team right now. Yeah. You know what's funny about that is I was looking at some of the old drafts and looking at the players we took and the players that were available to us at those picks. There's a couple of them that make you think. Jake Long was a good player. But yeah, we left Matt Ryan sitting there. There's a bunch of other ones too. That could almost be its own video, talking about some of the old drafts and what that meant for us. Make sure you guys throw a like down and subscribe if you're new. It helps out a bunch. Let's see. Let's look at some offense, huh? Because we got to talk about some things there. Elwood, what's up, brother? Good to see you in here, man. All right. Drop those likes. Okay. Offensively. This is kind of a lot to talk about, and finding a place to start is even harder. Oy. That's a good place to start. I like that. Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon did a great job. Ollie Gordon got tackled behind the line of scrimmage one time, um, and it was not his fault. The line got kind of blown up. Um, our running back situation, I like. I like Devon Achane, 12 carries, 62 yards, 5.2 yard average. Ollie Gordon, 9 carries, 38, 4.2 yard average. Ollie Gordon isn't that long home run type running back. He's just not. Ollie Gordon is the running back that's going to fall forward for 3 or 4 yards no matter what. And that's what he did. He was fantastic. I thought Ollie Gordon was great in this game. Had his touchdown, his first touchdown in the NFL, and it was a thumper. I'm happy with Ollie Gordon. Fantastic job by him. Tua Tagovailoa, 22 of 34, a buck 46 for yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. The rating would be 81.2 and the QBR would be 63.9. Tua Tagovailoa had a decent game. I know the yards weren't much, 140, 150 yards ish. Completion percentage wasn't through the roof of 22 of 34. The stats weren't there in this game for Tua. 2 touchdowns, but for the most part, Tua was doing some things in this game. Now I'm going to get to the interception. Bear with me. But up to that point, there were multiple instances of Tua going through progressions, going through more than 2 or 3 progressions to get to a decision on the field. There was instances, and these are things that people complain about. There was multiple instances of Tua getting rid of the ball, throwing it away when there was no open receiver. There was instances of Tua taking the ball and running with it. Well, there was one for sure. And doing a good job sliding, avoiding contact, getting positive yardage. It was a good run. There was instances of Tua sensing traffic in the pocket, flushing out and getting away from it, extending the play. These are things that people complain about. Yep. I'll get to the pick. I promise. Let me get through the other stuff, okay? You got to bear with me. I'm talking about it all with a level head here. So I'll give my opinion here in a minute. It's not the best. But up to that interception, Tua was doing things that were congruent with helping the team win. And that's what I was noticing, and I was happy about up to that pick, that interception. Seeing things that people always complain about, and I was like, wow, the stats are not there in this game for him, but he's doing the stuff that needs to happen to get this game, to get this W. If this is going to be a win, Tua is doing what he can to help. Is he elevating the players around him? Not really. And we know that Tua is not an elevation type player. He doesn't elevate players around him very well. But he was holding his own. And then the wheels fell off. And if you were in the live stream that I was doing, we had people in my stream in the chat, and we were all talking about the same thing right before that happened. I think it was Elwood that said, I'm waiting for the wheels to fall off. There's going to be an interception and it's going to wreck us. And we all agreed. Everybody was kind of saying the same thing, like, yep, it's probably going to happen, but let's hope it doesn't. It happened. Not only did it happen, it was a first down. We were on the 20-yard line, and there was 3 minutes 6 seconds left in the game. It was frustrating. Before the snap, we were all talking. I had a couple people online in the chat on stage with me here talking while we were watching that play about to happen. And there was people in the chat, and we were all saying the same thing. This needs to be a run play. Ollie's in the game. We've got to give him the ball. First down at the 20, 3 minutes left. We want to run this clock out. We don't want the Bills to get the ball back with a minute and a half, 2 minutes left in the game. The Dolphins were moving the ball straight up. we were moving the ball so well that I was thinking, man, there's going to be a minute and a half to 2 minutes left for Josh Allen to go down the field with this ball at the end of this game. And we did not want that. So all of us in the chat and on the stage here were thinking, man, we got to run the ball as much as possible. Force those timeouts to get used up by Buffalo and then bleed that clock dry. Punch the ball in the end zone. Ride Ollie's back to a win. And that's what we were all saying. And then he drops back to throw that pass. Now, Tua did not call that pass. So obviously this is the play that I was talking about where my main issue with Mike McDaniel's play calling, there was only one play that I really had an issue with, and this was it. This interception, this was game-changing. This ended the game for us. I'm not going to talk about Zach Sealer's roughing the kicker as the game ender. I don't think that was the one that ruined the game. I think the one that ruined the game for us was the play that Tua threw the pick. That was it. Now the play for Zach Sealer, it hurt. It wasn't helpful. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was the interception. Now, Tua drops back. He's staring over to the right. Now, I'm not going to use that phrase "stares down" because that's low-hanging fruit. But what was very glaringly obvious was that there was a cornerback just sitting there waiting. There was a defensive back just waiting for Tua to throw that ball. They knew he was going to throw it, and he threw it. I can see in certain situations where if the defense lines up the exact same way and there's still somebody standing there, I can see an instance of a quarterback throwing that pass and making it to where it wouldn't be intercepted. But that was not the case here. This was a throw. Yeah, I'm sorry, linebacker. Yeah. Why did I say defensive back? Yeah. This was a case of Tua put it right in his hands. It wasn't the linebacker made a good play, which is what Tua said in the interview, the press conference afterwards. The linebacker made a good play. No, he did make a good play. He caught it, but you threw it right to him. And it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. You just can't do that. And because of that pass, the game was lost. Yes, I mentioned that, Blake. I said, the play, it shouldn't have been called. It should have been a run play, period. But there was other options on that play instead of the pass that happened. So it just sucks that it happened that way. Especially since we all saw it coming. Everybody in my chat and on the stage here on StreamYard, we all saw it. We called it. All of us did. And it happened. So that was largely the reason the game was lost. After that, it really doesn't matter. That was the game-losing play. Tua throwing an interception at the worst possible time. Is this ever going to stop with Tua? Is he ever going to get past these yips in big moments? The evaluation is coming. That's all I can say. My evaluation on these players and these position groups is coming. Yeah. It was rough. It's hard. The Dolphins did a lot of things well. There was a little bit of some light at the end of the tunnel with a lot of the things that we did see from our offense, especially. It was good to see some of it. It's good to see Jalen Waddle get in the end zone. It was good. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but last year, Jalen Waddle did not waddle one time. Not once. All last year. This was the first time in a year and 7 months that Jalen Waddle actually waddled after a touchdown. It was good to see. It brings me to a point that I had. Oh, wait. Sorry. Let's see here. Can't bench a QB for turnovers. Make it make sense. Yeah. Yep. 5 turnovers in 3 games and 6 touchdown passes. That differential is not going to cut it. Need better quarterback play. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to give my opinion on Tua right now. I'm still formulating. Like I said, need 1 more week. But from what I've seen so far, it's not cutting it. This game and the Patriots game, big mistakes by the quarterback position in those 2 games. Close games that we could have won. Both of them. Joe, good to see you in here, man. You just can't have that. You can't have it. It's not conducive to winning when you have a quarterback throwing those picks at the worst possible time. That's 2 games where he's done it. The first game against the Colts, he was just throwing picks the whole time. So, I mean, and someone up here. Let's see, where was that comment? I want to read that out. Elwood says this: Zach Wilson can do the same thing for $6 million instead of 55. Tip of my ice water glass to you. You're right. He totally could. It's a good point. Yeah, it's rough. We gotta, and here's the worst part. 0-3. It's almost unheard of for a team to go 0-3 and then make the playoffs. So at this point, talking about the playoffs, it's futile. There's not much point there. And like I said in the beginning of the year, I'm not so concerned about playoff victories, and it's just not that's not in the cards this year, and I knew it. I said in the beginning of the season, or preseason, that I'm not concerned with that. What I'm concerned about is player development and individual and team evaluations, looking at direction for these position groups and these players. So what's most important to me is growth from game to game. So now I need to see more growth. Something to be encouraged by. Mainly a win would be good. Interceptions would be good. Defense getting some more stops. The defense did get a few stops in this game. They did play a little better near the end of the game. They got gashed in the beginning. Offense did things that I haven't seen in a while. Yeah. Joe, you got a good point there. I haven't talked about the offensive line. I guess I should just do that right now. Patrick Paul is solid. I'm going to say it right now. I like Patrick Paul. He is going to be okay. He's fine. I thought, who was it? Let me pull this up. Sorry, guys. I'm scatterbrained today. Ollie and Malik Washington, yeah. They're good. Rasul Douglas did play well. He had 7 tackles. Or 8. Daniel Brunskill, I feel like he did an admirable job. I don't know if you guys noticed. They pulled Keon Smith out of the game, and it was probably one of the better decisions the Dolphins made. Daniel Brunskill did a better job by far compared to Keon Smith. As far as I'm concerned right now, Brunskill needs to start the next game until we get I can't believe I'm saying this, but until Eichenberg comes back. The game plan Thursday should be how the rest of the season should go. Run the ball and less into his hands. Run and win ugly. I agree. I think that's what needs to happen. And we'll get to see a lot of that player development that I'm so obsessed with this year. We'll get to see more of that if we play that style of football. Pass when you need to, obviously, but run the ball. We need to run the ball. Yes, and that brings me to my next point, Joe. You're right. The ineligible downfield plays hurt us really bad. Those were both going to be first downs by far, and then they got called back. And one of them, that was on Jonas Vainaya. Hey, Joe, you're killing me, man. Right as I'm talking about stuff. Jonas Vainaya, I'm not impressed with him. And Joe said it best. I'm not impressed with Jonah thus far. Now, you notice Joe didn't say, Jonas sucks, he's a bust, he's terrible, get rid of him. Because we don't know that yet. Okay? But what we do know is it hasn't been impressive yet. And we can expect some struggles from a rookie, also playing on the other side of the offensive line than what he's used to. We can expect some struggles. Now, operationally, like a ineligible player downfield, there's just not an excuse for it. It can't happen. It just can't. Yep, you're right, Elwood. That's what I was saying. It's something new to him. But an ineligible player downfield, that has nothing to do with what side of the line you're on. Now, his ineligible player downfield penalty had zero effect on the game, on the play. He was on the left side, the play went to the right, far right, and it was a gashing play. The Dolphins had a first down and like an extra 15 yards. It was like a 20-something yard play. And Jonah was just all the way on the other side of the line, 10 yards deep, and 5 to 6 yards farther left, and they threw the flag on him. Now, I will say this. He was on the verge of having it not be ineligible downfield. I mean, he was right on that line mark. So it does suck that they threw the flag. However, like I said, I watched this game 3 more times, so a total of 4 times. It was definitely ineligible downfield, but just barely. That could have easily not been thrown, especially since it was on the other side of the field. So, yeah, at this point we have so many injuries, you could easily just move him back to the right side and call it good. And I guarantee you, if they put him back on the right side, his play would improve. Now, I don't know how much, but his play would definitely improve. I'm not going to say Jonah is a bust. I'm not going to say he sucks, but he definitely needs to get working. There needs to be an improvement there. Right now, his evaluation that I have in my little black book here, his evaluation in here is not good from what I've seen so far. I mean, according to PFF, 2 of his games so far, the last 2 games that he's played, he's received a 0 for pass block rate or percentage for his rating. It's unreal. He's playing bad overall. So you want to see that get better. And those of you that know anything about playing offensive line, what's the best way to get an offensive lineman some confidence? It's not pass blocking. It's just not. The way you get an offensive lineman some confidence is run the ball. Let an offensive lineman get out in motion and lay some hats on people. That's how you get an offensive lineman confidence. That's how you get them playing right. Let them go smash some skulls. We need to run the ball, not just for Ollie, not just for keeping the ball out of Tua's hands. We need to run the ball for the offensive linemen. We need to let them smash some skulls, gain some confidence, and realize that they're not made of glass and they can handle this stuff. Curtis, what's up, man? I miss you, brother. Yeah, it's just that's what it is. It's we need to run the ball for multiple reasons. It's not just so that we can keep the ball out of Tua's hands. It's not just so that we can get Ollie playing. We need to run the ball. Operationally, that's how you win football games, especially with the team that we have right now. With the players that we have to run the ball. If we want success, we gotta run the ball. Running the ball will fix a lot of our issues. But as far as the offensive line goes, the offensive line play was not horrible. It wasn't good, but it wasn't horrible. I saw some improvement. And like somebody else said here, we had We had no sacks. Now, there likely should have been a couple sacks, but Tua actually did a good job a couple times avoiding pressure, bleeding out, getting away from defenders, and extending the play. It's just it wasn't great offensive line play, but it was serviceable this game. So I got to give the credit there. I thought Brunskill did a definite better job than Keon Smith did when he came in and relieved him, and that was nice to see. I want to see Brunskill start next game since we don't have anybody else to play that position. I do not want Keon Smith back in the game until Keon Smith can, improve his evaluation. That's where I'm at. Kenneth Grant is on a milk carton. Like I said, yes, he's not really done much. I feel like with time, I feel like he's going to grow. We just gotta. It's work in progress. We gotta continue with that. It sucks that he was such a high draft pick that we spent to get a project, but also Zeke Biggers didn't play, and that was strange. I wonder why he didn't. I would have liked to have seen him in the game. And Elwood, this right here, you're right. More Ollie, more deep balls. If we give the ball to Ollie and Achane more on run plays, and actually not just run plays, but between the tackles run plays, if we do that more, we're going to see more deep balls. It's gonna though it doesn't seem like it, but those go hand in hand. If we do the run plays, we're going to get the deep balls. And I don't know if you guys noticed that things opened up a little bit near the end of that game for Miami, middle of the field, downfield. And it was because they started to stack the box on us because we were running the ball well. They started creeping those linebackers up. They started creeping those outside linebackers. The Sam and Will linebackers were creeping. They were wanting it. And the Dolphins were punching them right in the mouth. When that happens, you're going to get those opportunities down the field. I got to take a breath. Jalen Wright in the doghouse or something. No snaps Thursday night. I think they're just taking it easy with him because he's been hurt. I think that's the only reason. He's been out. So, and actually, he would be back next week, I think. I think that's when it's supposed to happen. I'm not positive on that. Oh. I agree. That's the comment of the day right there. Oh, you're making my face turn red. I'm gonna hide behind the comment. Oh man. Grant has an 80-year-old woman's chest. Need to get that chest looking like a 21-year-old male football player. I agree. You're right. There's no way around it. The man's got to get working out. He's got the size. He needs to pack on a little bit of muscle and needs to get that strength going for sure. I think part of this, and I'm not making excuses for Tua at all. I think this is largely an effect of what's happened to him. I think part of this is that he has massive case of happy feet. Even when he's got a good pocket, you see Tua back there in the pocket, you see him start to dance. And I think that when you're dancing and you've got those happy feet, you can't load up on a football. If you're constantly slowly just jogging yourself backwards and left and right, you're always off balance to make a throw. And I think that that's part of it. I think the happy feet thing is what's hurting Tua with the deep ball. If Tua gets himself to calm down, I tell you what, if we have a couple more games with protection like we did this game, and I'm not a big fan of our offensive line play, but it was improved this week against a pretty good defense. Not the best defense, but a decent one. I think that if Tua can get a little more confidence in his offensive line, I don't care what he says. I get rid of the ball quick, brother. I think he's worried. I think he's scared. And I think that if he can get himself to calm those feet down a little bit, he'll be able to get back into those throws. I think that's the big thing there. But we'll see. I mean, got to run the ball with 3 minutes to go, right? Yeah, first down and 10 on the 20-yard line with 3 minutes to go. You've got to run the ball. It's the stupidest thing in the world to pass the ball there. Like I said, I felt like Mike McDaniel called a good game, but that play call was the one that just was dumb. It was DAF, and if you don't know what that means, I cannot say it on this channel, but it was DAF, and you can't do that. You're right. You have to run the ball there. You've got Ollie in the game. You've got him standing there 3 yards behind Tua. You give the ball to Ollie. You let him. You know what would happen. Ollie would have gotten 3 or 4 yards, and we would have moved on. 2nd and 6 is a fantastic place to be. And that's where we probably would have been. I don't think it's the injury itself. I think it's the mental aspect of just constantly getting hurt and constantly running for your life for 3 years. I think because of that, I think that Tua has happy feet, and I think that he's just got to calm himself down. If he can do that, like I said, he doesn't have a rocket arm. He doesn't have a cannon back there. But I think that he'll be able to get his feet and his body into those throws a little more if he can calm his feet down. That's kind of where I'm at with the Tua thing. I think Tua spent too much time on his Diddy boat. No off-season training and got back and put on skates. Maybe. 1.51 seconds. Was that this last game, Curtis, or was that the whole season so far? Just out of curiosity. I mean, shoot, there was times where he was running out of the pocket and he didn't really even need to yet. Like, not even close. There was pressure, here and there for sure. I'm not saying it was like that every play, but I noticed a few times that he was trying to get out of the pocket and he didn't really even need to. So I don't know. I feel like, though, if we just keep running the ball, I think things are going to be okay. And I definitely think that if we can commit to running the ball, like largely the Dolphins did in this last game. Let me see here. Where is that? I want to find it. I'm going to find it. Yeah, you're right, Curtis. I don't disagree with this. And that's going to be part of my evaluation video that is coming up on the Tuesday after our Monday night game. Yeah, there you go. You're right. 32% pressure. Unreal. Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm just sitting here now. I'm starting to get that 100-yard stare looking down. Recap. Where is it? Here we go. All right. The possessions were 28 minutes and 13 seconds for Miami, 31 minutes and 47 seconds for Buffalo. It was a pretty even possession game. And that's what you have to do. You got to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands as much as you can, and running the ball does that. It's a horrible thing. It could have. I wasn't expecting a win, but man, I really thought that we could have won. I really did. Oh, man. Okay. Guys, thanks for being in here. Make sure you guys throw a like down for me if you're in here and you feel so inclined. Those thumbs up help. Also, if you're new and you haven't subscribed, do that. I promise I won't let you down. Goal is to get to 500 by the end of the year or end of the season. See how that actually pans out. All right, let's see. Where is it? Yeah, I mean, and we're playing. Okay, so we're playing the Jets on Monday. Not this Monday, but the next one. We got a little bye here. Rafa's speaking. Dolphins bring back Fitzpatrick, bring back Ryan Tannehill, and take Waddle's number back. Please no to Ryan Tannehill. Please no. I feel like it's 6 and 1, a half a dozen in the other between Tannehill and Tua. Yeah, let's see. 25 rushing attempts for the Dolphins. And we averaged 5.2 as a team. 5.2 yards rushing per carry. 25 runs. 130 yards rushing total. So we're looking at that. 130 yards rushing. We need that. We have to do that at least. It has to be 120, 130 yards rushing. I'd like to see that number around 150. And I'd like to see slightly more run plays than pass plays called. If we do that against the Jets, it's going to be a blowout. We're going to destroy them. And it's pretty sad. Little old boy Dirk sitting here, me, saying that when we have people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year to coach football teams, and they don't recognize it. The word committing to the run isn't just calling run plays. It's not. Committing to the run means you're going to call the run plays even when they aren't necessarily working. It's not just about getting 4 yards a carry. It's about training the defense that you're playing against. There's no better way to do that than to run the ball. If you run the ball repeatedly, you will wind up with a defense in positions that you want them in. The NFL is easy per Tua. Well, there it is. The NFL is easy, guys. It's just that simple. It's much easier than sitting on our couches eating potato chips. I like potato chips. But it's more. The running game is more than just running the ball. It sets up the rest of the game. And that's why it's so important, and that's why so many people recognize it as being so. We need to run the ball. It should be that simple. I know that we don't have the Buffalo Bills offensive line. I know we don't have that, but it doesn't matter. We should be able to pull 130 yards, 150 yards rushing against the Jets. We should. I fully expect that. Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me. But that's where we're at, guys. I'm gonna do I think Tuesday I'll do my normal live stream. Open it up to everybody to come in and join the live stream and talk with me, and we'll chat about the Jets. This is where I'm sealing up the Bills game, and the bottom line is we gave it a run, and like I said, I am encouraged by that. I did see some things I liked. I saw 2 plays that lost us the game, one on defense, one on offense, and I saw 2 players that, whether we like them or hate them, they kind of did those 2. They committed those 2 crimes on those 2 plays. It sucks. I'm not going to focus on it and dwell on it. I made my note in my little evaluation book up there for the Bills game. My notes are in there. and I'm waiting for week 4 before I can give my final evaluations. The Buffalo Bills 31, the Miami Dolphins 21. This game was closer than the score entails, closer than the score shows. If you go look at the team stats, you'll see how close this game was. It was very close. So we saw fight. That we did. Yep, 2 captain mistakes. But the thing that I noticed coming out of there, even though my head is hung low losing that game, I saw fight, and that was good. Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas, they did good. Yes, you were right, Elwood, absolutely. I think they played well. If anything, they played with intensity. Rasul Douglas wanted to win this game, and it was good to see him not play with like Jordan Poyer. It was good to see him actually making hits, laying the stick down, and doing what he should be doing. We could have won this game, but instead we didn't. We're 0-3, and we're going into a Monday night game against the New York Jets at home. We're going to be wearing the rivalry jerseys, so it's going to look cool. It's going to be on Monday Night Football. This is going to be a big game. I know it's the Jets, and they're not really anything special, but neither are we. And we got to be realistic about that. We're both going to probably be 0-3. The Jets could be 1-2. We don't know yet. We'll know tomorrow. But likely, I'm thinking we're going to see 2 0-3 teams playing on Monday Night Football. One of those teams is coming away with a win, and it needs to be us. So we'll see how it goes. Tuesday, I will do the coverage and the preview of the Jets game. During the week before the game start on the following Monday, I'll do another live stream, I'm sure, talking about things, catching everybody up. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, throw the likes down. If you feel like donating, go ahead and do that if you want. You don't have to. Don't feel like you have to at all. That's crazy. If you don't have the money, I understand. Money is tight. Believe me, I get it. I'm a truck driver. I understand. A truck driver with a $300,000 mortgage on his house and 4 kids. I get it. Money's tight. So if you feel like you want to, go for it. If not, don't. I appreciate you guys being here anyway. Likely going to do a live stream for the Monday night game against the Jets as well. So if you guys feel like coming and joining me during that, let me know. I'll work it out. Likely what I'll do is what I did this last game, where the first half I'll be live myself, and then the second half I'll open it up to where anybody can jump in and watch the game and put their sad faces online. Yeah, I'm going hunting. Are you going hunting, Elwood? I've been hunting every night and every morning. I'm exhausted. I'm getting like 4 hours of sleep a night, but got to do what I got to do. Need to fill that freezer. That's for sure. Yeah, so getting off here and going to go hunting. Wish me luck. And I'll get back on Tuesday. I'll have that coming up. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be at 8:15 Eastern PM. Make sure you guys come by and check me out. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you guys. I know it's rough. We're 0-3, but we got to stay hopeful. Fins up, and we'll talk to you guys next time.